Hey everybody, it's the Crystal Manta here, and welcome to my YouTube channel. This is the first video I'm actually uploading to this channel. I made it a while ago, and I meant to upload some stuff, but there was some issues with my computer, and it's a whole long story. I had a Twitch channel for a while, and I had planned to upload the Planet Zoo streams I did there. But now that my computer's back, I decided, well, you know, I'm going to start a new zoo. I had a zoo over on Twitch, but I have some new ideas, and I think I just kind of want to start fresh since it's been, what, a month since I was able to stream. And you probably won't be able to see those videos on there anymore, obviously, because it's Twitch, but... So that zoo is basically gone. But that's okay, because I got some new fresh ideas that I want to show off, some pretty ambitious ideas that I think are gonna be really interesting. So, I think that's enough of a backstory here. So let's get into the content here. First off, I want to thank everybody for joining me. Anyone who's able to watch right now, I really appreciate it. I hope this is the start of a beautiful new YouTube channel. I did some gaming a while ago as another channel, but I just kind of wanted to start get a fresh start because it had been years since I'd done it. So I made this channel, so that's alright. Anyway, back to the game. For those of you who don't know, this is Planet Zoo. Hopefully you guys all know this if you're clicking on this video. But it's basically a modern day take on Zoo Tycoon, if you guys remember that classic. That old dinosaur digs. But yeah, it's a kind of a modern zoo building game from the creators of Planet Coaster and Jurassic World Evolution. Which I don't have, but I might get, I'm not sure. I have Planet Coaster, so I might play that, I'm not sure. I'm not a huge Planet Coaster fan as much as I am Planet Zoo. Just difference in likes between zoos and theme parks. But yeah. So this is the new zoo that we're going to be starting. I hope to be able to upload fairly often. I'm not going to keep myself to a super strict schedule because then I definitely won't be able to follow it and it'll make me look incompetent. But that's okay. Anyway, I've been rambling long enough about nonsense things. So now we're actually going to get started talking about what's happening on screen right now. So right now I am building the kind of a guest spawn building, I guess would be the best way to describe it. This is just kind of a basic building where the guests spawn in on their magical teleportation pads as they enter the zoo. We're not going to be building a whole lot in this episode. I mean, we build a decent amount. But mainly we're just doing kind of, not really a plaza area. I don't know if plaza would be quite the correct word. But just kind of a basic entrance thing before you actually get to the like turnstile entrances. We're going to have like a little ticket booth and a cool water feature with a lake. It's going to look really nice. Right now, I'm just kind of building the basic shell of the building, putting some lighting in. You'll notice that before I started doing the interiors, I did the roof first. I highly regret that. So for future interior builds, I'll definitely be doing interiors first, because then if you do the roof first, then you've got all this weird camera clipping you have to get through, and it's a pain. So that'll be something I definitely do different next for future interior builds. So I want to talk about what kind of zoo this is going to be, because there's different types of zoos people build in Planet Zoo. Some people like to build, more realistic zoos, like kind of city zoos, maybe ones that are funded mainly by donation. They have a limited budget, so they're not super elaborate. I might build one of those later, but for this one, I don't know, I kind of just want to go crazy and make something overly elaborate. Like kind of like an eccentric billionaire made a zoo. Maybe, like I said, maybe I'll do a basic zoo sometime. But kind of right now, I kind of just want to go crazy because it's my first one, and I have some really elaborate, maybe never before done by anyone in this game ideas. I don't know. I haven't seen everybody's zoos, but I have some pretty interesting ideas that I think will look really cool if I can make them work. Right now I'm just kind of decorating, you know, the spawn building, putting some lights around, air conditioning. Right now I'm going to start working with the path, just so I can kind of lay out the basic idea for what I want the path of this little opening area to be. We're not actually going to get to like the main hub of the zoo yet. We're going to start that next time. But right now I just kind of want to make this little entrance area. Here I'm adding a little welcome sign. I love these new letters made with the aquatic, or that came with the aquatic pack. I don't know if it was with the DLC or was it the free update. I think it might have been with the free update, update 1.4. But they look really nice, and it's a nice change of pace from the big cartoony letters. I like the big cartoony letters we had previously, but these ones are really nice and kind of professional looking. Here I'm just adding some education boards into the wall, just so people can learn all about stuff even before they even come really into the zoo. So I set them to be about bee extermination and climate change, I think is what I chose. I wish we had bees in this game as a little terrarium animal. I think it'd be fun. So here you see me start to make this kind of like little mural with the animal silhouettes. I might try something with it later, so I like to do it, but I just wasn't feeling it on this wall. It felt kind of random and out of place. So I just kind of get rid of it. So now I start to work on the outside path a little bit. You see me starting with this kind of natural path that you would use terrain on, because originally I wanted to do like a dirt floor, because this opening section and the hub in general are going to be forest themed. So you can see me adding the dirt here. The idea was that this was kind of as silly as it sounds, kind of an enchanted forest maybe, that has plant life and trees and everything from all over the world. So you'll see pine and cedar and baobab and palm trees and cactuses and whatnot. So I wanted it to be very dense woodland-esque. So I wanted to do like a forest floor thing. But I end up changing the path here in a moment, you'll see. So here I'm adding, this will be where our ticket booths are to actually get into the zoo, or our little turnstiles. And I had some trouble getting them to line up with the path. Especially because it's kind of hard to see with the little nubbins terrain path where everything connects up, which is why I changed it to this brick here, just so I can kind of see when it is connecting. So now you can see I changed it to this little tree bark path. I think this one looks way better, and I have some cool ideas. I say ideas, I took some ideas from other people that I saw, but they end up looking cool with this terrain path. So here you see me, I'm starting to work on the pond that's going to be at the center of our little entrance area. And right now I'm actually adding a sign that's going to be the name of our zoo. As you can probably tell by the video title, I probably put it in the title. The name of the zoo is going to be Zoodyssey, which is, I think, a nice little bit of wordplay on zoology, the study of animals, and odyssey, meaning an adventure. Because this is an adventure. This isn't just a zoo, this is an animal extravaganza that you are partaking in. I was going to put this little sun down here, but I didn't like how it looked, so I went with this earth to represent the world, because this is a world of animals that you are entering. Kind of lowered it there. I think it's a nice little logo. I might add some stuff. I don't know, it depends on what you guys think. But I think it looks pretty nice. So now you see I'm putting these boards here, and I'm kind of making them like a little floor molding. You'll notice that kind of one of my design motifs when building a zoo is just kind of throwing stuff at the wall and seeing what sticks. Just seeing what kind of looks nice. I generally go into builds knowing like generally what I want it to look like, but specifics are often, you know, specifics about interiors are often just kind of on the fly. I'm not super crazy about how this opening guest building turned out. I might go back and add some more decorations to it to make it look a bit nicer. But for right now, it's fine. With this top little atrium I've created, not atrium, I don't know if that's the right word. I want to make a little garden. I know guests will never ever see it, but I think it'll just look nice. And to fit with the worldwide forest thing, I just kind of throw in plants from all over the place. You see cactuses and African daisies. Just kind of whatever looks nice. Kind of give it that multi-biome feel. Like this is, plants shouldn't coexist, but they do. So now I'm going to work on a little sign out in the front that I think is pretty nice. It says, "Visit again soon. Come back again and give us all your money again." Gonna center it a bit there. I think it turns out pretty nice. I like the big letters. I know I said I like the little more professional letters. I like them both. I hope we get even more fonts soon. I think that would look pretty nice. But the ones we have right now are pretty good. You have kind of a sillier one and then a more professional, modern one. So, because the stuff with my computer going nuts kind of happened right after the aquatic pack released, I never really got a chance to play around with the aquatic pack stuff. So this was kind of my first time messing with these flexi-color fake rocks, and I gotta say I'm really enjoying them. You can make all sorts of really interesting stuff, and there's really like no limit to what you can do because they're flexi-color. You can basically make them whatever you want, so I'll probably be using them a lot. I wish we had some that were in the same like shapes as the other biome rocks, and I wish we had the other biome rocks in these shapes, but maybe we'll get some down the line or modders can add them in. So you can see me here, I'm making kind of a little custom fence with these logs and rope coils. I don't know, I like to make these little custom decorative fences. I think it's a bit more personalized. Not that the base game fences are bad, I just think it adds a little personality to the zoo if you make everything yourself. And I just kind of like these little rustic wooden log fences. I think it looks pretty cool. I end up kind of putting these all over this opening area, just kind of along the paths and everything. And because it's made of logs, it again gives it kind of that foresty feel. And so like what I did with that little glass thing up on top of the building, I'm just putting like random little plants here to give the impression that plants of all biomes and areas of the world are growing here. Just kind of whatever I think will fit. It's a bit eclectic, but I think it looks nice. So here I'm taking that fence again, because I really enjoy it. I think it looks really nice. If you guys want, I will, let me know in the comments if you want. I will take that fence and put it on the workshop so you guys can use it. I have no, problems against doing that. Everybody can use my nice looking fence. It's not that great, I kid. But if you guys want it, I'll put it up there. So I just kind of just put it along the whole edge of the path here. Before I started doing this, I watched Planet Zoo timeline or time-lapse videos myself, and they never really prepare you for how long it takes putting these fences in, because I never really did much fencing in my own zoos. I occasionally use the pre-made fences, but because it goes by so fast when watching time lapses, you never really stop to appreciate how long it actually takes. Like this took probably 20 minutes. And here you see I'm putting in a caretaker for scale, just to make sure it's not too tall. I want it to be kind of chest height, so you can't really climb over it too well, but also not enough that it blocks a view of anything. Maybe a little kid's view, but their parents will probably hold them up, So we're just kind of using it to circle this lake. Is it a lake or a pond? I feel like it's a pond based on the size. I think a lake is generally larger. I don't know, tell me in the comments what the difference is. I don't know if there's a maximum depth or like square mileage that it has to be considered a lake. I know lakes are generally bigger than ponds. So let me know in the comments what the difference is. There's different sizes of bodies of water. Puddles, ponds, lakes, seas, oceans. I don't know, I'm not a hydrologist. Is that I don't know, that might be the term. Study of water? It should be if it's not. I'm not sure what the study is. I'm gonna say hydrologist, that sounds cool. So here I'm just putting some ATMs at the front and some trash cans so they can give me money and not throw their garbage on the floor, but they'll still do that anyway because people are horrible. So what I'm doing right now is I'm making these custom little benches, or at least a shell to put on top of a bench so it looks like a custom bench. I tried to do this log, but you can see that this bench has these like kind of black railings on the side that jut up on top of, like above the seat, which means I can't sink the logs in as much as I want, so people will clip in more. You'll see in a minute that I actually go back and change what type of bench it is so it looks a bit better. I like the way these triple log benches came out. I might go back and add some like decoration to them. So you can see I'm actually going back and adding it, or changing it to these aquatic benches because there's no railings, so nothing to kind of poke up out of the log mesh. I think it looks better. But I might add some little decorations to these benches, and then I might put them on the workshop too. I know they're not much, not super impressive, but I think they're nice. I think it's cool to just get to sit on a little log. So now you can see me kind of start to build a little mountain, although I immediately get rid of it. I ended up I want to have a little mountain on that side of the lake where water just cascades down it. But I end up using the aquatic rocks to build it just to practice with them. So now I'm taking the fence and I'm taking it to the other side because I just decided I want to keep using this. So I think it looks nice. Now here I'm just gonna lower that. Problem is that it ends up kind of sticking out of the ground because a lot of the log bits are sunken in. So you can't just duplicate it, you gotta sink it in as well. Now we're gonna continue it over here. And you might be wondering what this little alcove over here is gonna be. Well, we will get to that in a second. Not an alcove, but this little detour over here that isn't where the turnstiles. I keep wanting to say ticket booths, but they're more like turnstiles. I guess that's probably where the guests buy their tickets. I don't know. But here you see I'm adding some of these aquatic rocks to the side here. Whenever I build these kind of like lakes or bodies of water, I kind of like to line the edges with rocks. I just feel like with the terrain tools in this game, sometimes the edges of bodies of water don't look too nice. I mean, it depends, especially right next to a path, they can be kind of choppy. This one isn't too bad. But if you're building a body of water next to a path that you've already placed, the edges can be really jutty. You can kind of see there, this one I'm covering up, kind of where it meets the water. It's kind of like polygonal, and it just doesn't look that nice, so I just kind of like to cover it with rocks. It makes it look a bit more natural. Any good Planet Zoo builder will tell you that you can never have too much rock and foliage. So right now I'm taking some of these random rocks and just kind of making them a different color so it breaks up the color a bit. I didn't do that with the mountain I build later in this video. It's all just one shade of gray. I will go back and change that. It just completely slipped my mind to do that. Right now we're actually starting the forest part of this forest. And as you can see, I'm adding trees from all sorts of different biomes. Even though it's kind of a North American coniferous, or like deciduous coniferous forest, I still am going to have like baobab trees and some palm trees and stuff that really wouldn't naturally fit in that environment, because this is a magic forest. I always really like this trick, like taking these broken trees and just kind of like line them down in the water or across rocks like they've fallen. I'm wondering if like I did that with like a monkey exhibit, would they be able to like walk across it like a bridge? I might have to try that out or look it up. But kind of the idea behind this, I've decided to call this opening area the Worldly Woods. I think it just sounds kind of nice. And it sounds, it conveys the idea I want to convey, that this is like kind of an enchanted forest that just kind of represents all of nature and all forests of the world. But I think it turned out pretty nicely. It's very dense and lush. The good thing about trees in this game is that you can kind of use them to block out views that you don't want your guests to see. So you don't really want them seeing kind of the outside world, because then it breaks the immersion. So right now I'm building what would actually be our actual ticket booths. So this would be where I'm using info stands, because they're very they have good multiple uses. You can kind of use them for anything like lore-wise, like in-universe. So I like to use them for ticket booths. So here I am, this is just kind of a little ticket booth stand, and people will go and take their tickets to the turnstile and then enter the zoo, where we would have our main hub, which we will start on next video. I don't think we'll finish it in the next video because I have a lot of stuff I want to put in the hub. I have a couple habitats, some exhibits, some shops and buildings, so that'll be a few episodes all by itself. Quite a few. It'll be a pretty long build. I imagine this will be a lengthy series because I want to fill this map to as much as my computer will let me. So right now I'm taking these logs and making them kind of little columns. They have all these like facades you can see that I'm testing out here, but I didn't really think any of them looked that great for what I was going for. So I ended up taking these logs that you can see here and kind of using them as little shelves or like counters, because I think it just fits the theme a bit better. There's that one caretaker who's just wandering around back and forth because there's nothing for him to do yet. It'll be a couple episodes, I think, before we get any actual animals. The hub area will have 2 habitats and some exhibits. I do have some ideas planned. I really like these little half arches in the game. I didn't realize it at the time, but because they're just on the path, guests will be able to walk through them. I'm gonna see if there's a way that I can fix it messing with the paths. If not, then people will just be able to walk through it, and it'll be fine. It'll be whatever. But this is kind of, I'm gonna build a sign here that I think is gonna look really cool. I originally wanted to build it by putting letters, the sign letters, on like a rock. So you can see me, I'm going into these fake rocks here, trying to find kind of a flat one that I could put letters on. But I ended up just using the architecture pieces because the rocks just kind of jutted out too far on the other side. So right here I'm using the light brown piece. Eventually I go and replace it with the dark brown New World theme just because it makes the letters stick out more. But for right now I'm using the kind of light brown tannish one. So this is just a sign that says, "Tickets! Come get your tickets here." You see me moving those letters over so I can put a little dollar sign, give me your cash. I think it ends up looking pretty nice. Now I'm adding some nice little lighting, sinking that one in. I really like these fluorescent rectangular lights. I think they just look cool. I really like the New World theme. I think that's my favorite building theme in the game. And it's the one I tend to use the most often when building like hub areas, because it just looks so sleek and modern. I just think it looks really nice. So what I'm doing, what you see me doing here is I'm attempting something that I've seen in other zoos, where they use those umbrellas to kind of make hanging lights, but I couldn't find a good cord to hang them from, so I might try that again some other time when I have more of a flat roof and when I can plan out some pieces ahead of time. I do like these star lights though. I think they look really nice. So now I'm just kind of decorating the outside of this building, just trying to make it look somewhat decent. And I had the idea to put this like little fake door, so like this would be like the employee entrance to the zoo, or not to the zoo, idiot, to this little ticket booth area. Like lore wise, obviously it's just a fake door plant, you know, slapped on the side of the building and they'll never use it. But this would be sorry, I'm stuttering a lot. This would just kind of be where the employees would enter through that area. So we have these like little ropes that you can use for monkey climbing frames. But you can also just use them to just kind of like rope off little areas. And because it's not actually a path, it's just dirt that I painted there, the guests won't try to go back there. Not that there's necessarily anything to lure them back there anyway. But yeah, I really like this, how this little ticket booth came out. I'll probably add it to the workshop too. I think I already saved it as a blueprint, but I'll definitely be adding it to the workshop. Because I think it's not great, it's still kind of a rectangular boxy building, but you know what, that's fine sometimes. So right now I'm putting a little staff break room. I wish we had some staff paths that didn't have that like weird texture with the colored tiles. I wish we had some more natural looking ones. Maybe they'll add those in update, or again modders can add them. Speaking of mods, I've been downloading some animal mods that are pretty cool, and I was wondering if you guys would be interested in seeing some of those in this zoo. My original plan was just to stick to the actual official animals, but if you guys are open to seeing modded animals in the zoo, I'd be open to putting some in there. They would, you know, they still be like actual zoo animals. I wouldn't be putting any fictional or extinct animals in here, but you know, just ones that the devs haven't created. Let me know in the comments below what you guys think. I know I'm asking for a lot of feedback in the comments. Do you guys want the fence on the workshop? Do you guys want mod animals? Blah blah blah. But you know, this is the start of a new channel, and I want some, you know, I would appreciate some feedback, and if you guys even have suggestions for exhibit ideas, or habitat ideas, or buildings, or whatever, I will definitely take suggestions for how to make the zoo look better. I'm completely always open to those. So feel free to leave your suggestions in the comments below and whatnot. So right now I'm just kind of decorating this staff building, which I have designated as an administration building. So this is where kind of the higher ups of the zoo would go and do whatever their business is. I like putting like these little like kind of lore buildings that don't really serve any practical in-game purpose, like an administration building. And I have some more coming up later that would be cool ideas. But I just think it adds to the realism. So right now I'm building what I really like this sign I'm building. It's kind of a staff only sign, but I think it turns out really cute. And I don't know, I really enjoy it. So I have like this no symbol, and this pointing hand and eyes, and a little magnifying glass. And I just kind of sink it in and be like, no looky-loos here. This is not for the guests. This is a staff-only area. Keep on out. I don't know. It's kind of silly, but I don't know. I really like it. I think it has kind of a goofy charm to it. And again, I'm roping off the area to... I wish we had some ropes that were kind of like curved like that, but didn't curve at such an angle, because now it hangs low enough that it kind of touches the ground, so I ended up going with this straight rope. And again, I'm using this building, or this fence, custom fence, just to kind of line the path. I just think it looks cool, and it helps pull the theming together. So now I'm putting the roof onto this building. Again, it's still kind of a rectangular, boring building, but again, that's fine for this opening area. I'm going to try to take myself out of my comfort zone when building in this series and kind of build stuff I've never built before. Like I said before, I have some really ambitious exhibit ideas that I'm not even sure if I'm going to be able to pull off. But we're going to... In fact, I have one exhibit idea that may take several videos. Unless it'll be like a full hour and something video. But I think it's going to turn out really cool if I can get it to work. So right now I've got these, I'm making these like log kind of pillars at the corners of the building, and I put some like cool planters on them. I don't know, I think it looks pretty nice. It gives guests kind of something to look at. It makes the building feel a bit more alive, I guess. I ended up going with these like Swiss, I think they're called like Swiss cheese plants or something like that. I don't know if I don't know, I think it looks pretty cool. Sorry if I get kind of mush-mouthed. I have kind of a light lisp, so some of my words tend to flow together, especially because I'm just kind of speaking off the cuff and you know, free flow. What's that term when you're writing and you don't really think about it? Stream of consciousness. That's kind of what I'm doing right now. So if it becomes impossible to understand me at some point, I apologize. I will try to enunciate as best as I can. So now I'm just taking these kind of rock piles, and I had this idea and I thought it would look really cool to take these rock piles and sink them into the path so that it kind of looks like there's like kind of littered stones on the path. Like it kind of gives the appearance that it's more like a trail or a forest floor. I don't know, I think it turned out really nice looking. It just makes it a bit more natural looking. There's another idea that I took from, that I do later on, that I took from, I think it's, oh man, is it Nicholas Lionrider or Leaf? They're two very prominent Planet Zoo modders that are also YouTubers. I want to say it's I Am the Lion Rider, Nicholas Lionrider, who had this idea on his, I think it's like Black Rock. I don't know what it's called. I'm sorry, Nicholas, if you're somehow watching this for whatever reason. I'm just very forgetful. But I'll talk about it more when it comes. I don't want to distract from what's happening here. Right now I'm just kind of adding trees, making it a bit more of a dense foresty area. Trees are nice, like I said earlier, because you can kind of just block off the outside world with them. Kind of, because they can see way into the distance and see the rolling hills of Alabama or wherever we are. I don't know, I think it kind of breaks the immersion. So there's like some baobab trees and just kind of give the appearance that this is kind of a representation of all forests. So now I'm putting some security cameras around because nobody likes crime at the zoo. Everybody likes being watched. This zoo is sponsored by the NSA. That's an original joke. But yeah, I'm just adding some security cameras around. I know you in the sandbox mode you can turn off crime and whatnot, but I like the idea that this zoo, someone could take it in challenge mode and it would still function, you know? You wouldn't have to turn stuff off in order for it to function. It should be able to be self-sufficient. So that's kind of what I want to do. So now I'm finally starting on this big mountain structure. And I'm really happy with how it turned out. You can see here I'm then just kind of adding layered rock. Just to kind of map out where I want different layers of rock to be. The idea is that it would be like a waterfall, and then the water is kind of cascading down these different levels into the pond. And I'm adding these rock piles to the bottom, so it kind of gives the impression that they've kind of rolled down the hill maybe, and have kind of collected at the bottom. I'm using this big aquatic rock just because it fills up space a lot. And I saw this little hole here in the side, so I decided to put this little stone archway, like it's maybe a mine shaft cave opening or something. I don't know, it was just kind of a little happy accident like that. I didn't intend to build that, but it just kind of looked nice. So now I'm just kind of filling this out to block view of the backside of the mountain. Just kind of randomly putting rocks down to make it more varied. There's a little archway. And now I start laying out the top of the mountain. And I kind of build up the terrain a bit back here just so I can kind of get an idea of where I need to place the rocks. And just to kind of fill space. Because you don't want guests to be able to see the raised terrain in the back. You don't want them to have a good view of much. So like I'll just take this whole group of rocks and just repeat it just because it fills out the mountain a bit, if that makes sense. So now I'm going in with the top of the waterfall tool and I'm going around and adding the cascading water. I end up going back and replacing a lot of them with the water rapids, or the rapids foam special effect. It just looks better and it also creates a different sound. So there's more varied audio cues. So like you see me, I go back and replace a bunch of those. Right now I'm just adding kind of the splash at the bottom. I really like these special effects. They said that in the next update 1.5, we're getting FlexiColor water. So we'll be able to actually change the color of bodies of water. And I have some big plans for that. But I'm also hoping that maybe we get FlexiColor versions of these water special effects. It'd be weird if we could FlexiColor water but not change the color of a waterfall, you know? So I wanted to put a statue here kind of by the entrance to this little mine or whatever, like an animal lived there. But all the statues are really big, so I ended up going with this like little wolf pup. And I don't know, I think he looks pretty cute next to his little home. His little cubby that he probably has to squeeze into, but that's fine. So now I'm just kind of filling in the back here so people can't really see too well behind the mountain. Gotta obscure that view. Keep the guests immersed. Can't let them see outside into the outside world. These bushes that I'm sinking into the ground are really good with this because they're super like lush and thick, and so they really help obscure things. They're a really good thing. Another easy thing is sinking trees into the ground so they just look like giant bushes. I haven't really tried that much, but I hear it's a good way to do it, and I might try it later on. So here you can see I'm going back and changing. This is the part where I change it to the dark wood. I think it just makes the letter pop a bit more. And so now here's that trick I'm using from Nicholas Lionrider, where he took these mulch beds and kind of just sunk them into this forest or tree bark path. And it just kind of looks like there's piles of dirt and mulch on the path. And it just kind of makes it look more forest floor-y, you know? I don't know, I think it looks really nice. So now I'm going to go ahead and add some more lights around the area. I ended up going with these New World lights. I'm hoping that we get kind of a North America pack in the future with maybe like Pacific Northwest theming. Because I'd like some cool, like, rustic looking, like, I don't know what they would look like log cabiny lights. Maybe like old colonial, not colonial, that's not the right term for it. But something that would look at home in like a lumber camp or something. That would be good for a future exhibit I have, but I don't imagine we'll get it anytime soon. So I'll probably just have to, you know, what's the word? Improvise. If I could think of basic words. Now I think we're about almost done adding these lights. I think it turned out pretty nicely. I'm going to go ahead and add some lights to the side of the waterfall, just so you can see a bit, some areas a bit better. Get some areas of the waterfall a bit more visible, you know? Just so it kind of lights it up. I think it looks really cool at night. I think it turned out really nicely. And then later on right here, I decided to kind of add some animal signs, just kind of the roof of this building, and make it look a bit less plain. I don't know, again, I'll probably decorate this building a bit more. I have some ideas for it, and in fact for all these buildings. But for right now, I think it turned out pretty nicely. Just kind of adding a bit more decoration here. Just kind of putting some finishing touches on the buildings that I want. For the most part, it's pretty much done. I tried to put a little archway on the side of the building there, but I think that we're pretty much done here. I think this is the end of the time lapse. So now we're gonna go into a little tour of the building. So I will catch you then. Hey everybody, thanks for checking out the video. If you want to see more content like it, be sure to like the video, hit the subscribe button, and ring the little bell to make sure you're notified of all future videos. Thanks, and I'll see you next time.